You know that feeling when you read a piece of life advice and immediately think, well, obviously, you nod and save the quote. Maybe you even send it to a friend because it sounds so simple that there is no way you would ever make that mistake. And then one day you realize you have been making the same exact mistake for months or maybe even years. And that is one of the strangest things about life. Sometimes the advice that sounds the most basic is the advice we understand the least. I learned that recently. And the funny thing is, I had already heard the lesson before many times. I just didn't truly understand it yet. I think we have all done this. We come across a piece of advice, maybe it's in a book, podcast, or YouTube video, and we think, yeah, that makes sense. But understanding something intellectually and actually living it are two completely different things. Reading about confidence isn't confidence. Reading about failure isn't failure. You can know the definition of something without knowing what it feels like. And because of that, we sometimes overestimate how much we have actually learned. We confuse familiarity with understanding. Just because you have heard something before doesn't mean you have absorbed it. Sometimes life has to teach it to you personally. And that is exactly what happened to me. Recently, I found myself feeling strangely hopeless. Not in a dramatic way, nothing catastrophic had happened, but something felt off. I wasn't excited about anything. The things that usually interested me were not really working anymore. I could feel myself slowly sinking into this weird state where every day started looking the same. Naturally, I tried to fix it because that is what we are supposed to do, right? If something feels wrong, solve the problem. So I started looking for solutions. I picked up books. I tried figuring out exactly what was causing this feeling. But no matter what I did, that feeling would not leave. And the more I focused on fixing it, the more trapped I felt. At first, I thought I simply wasn't working hard enough. That seemed like a logical explanation. Maybe I just needed to push more, or maybe I needed to earn the right to relax. So I kept postponing things. Not just big things, but small things too. The little moments that make life enjoyable. The moments that give you energy. The moments that make the hard work worth it. I kept telling myself, not now, I will enjoy that later. Once I reach this goal, then I will relax. This isn't the time. And honestly, it sounded reasonable. In my head, I wasn't avoiding life, I was preparing for it. I thought I was being practical, but looking back, I was making a mistake that I had already heard people warn about. One day, I came across a familiar piece of advice. The kind of advice that sounds almost painfully obvious. Don't postpone living your life. Simple, almost too simple. The kind of sentence you read and immediately move on from. But this time, it hit differently because suddenly I could see myself in it. I realized I had spent so much time trying to build a better life that I wasn't actually living the life I already had. I was constantly preparing for some future version of happiness, a future moment where everything would finally be organized enough. Then I would allow myself to enjoy life. But life doesn't really work like that. There is always another goal, and if happiness is always waiting on the other side of those things, it never actually arrives. Maybe life doesn't happen in phases. Maybe your 20s aren't just for discovering yourself, or just for suffering now so you can enjoy later. Maybe every stage of life is supposed to contain both growth and enjoyment. Because if you keep postponing one for the other, you end up missing the point. Life isn't a video game where you complete the hard level and unlock permanent happiness. Things don't always happen according to plan. Goals change and you change, which means flexibility isn't optional, it's necessary. And sometimes, when life offers you a small moment of peace, you should take it. Not because you have earned it, or not because you have completed all your work, but because you are human. And sometimes you don't realize how badly you need those moments until they are gone. What fascinates me most about this experience isn't the lesson itself, it's the fact that I already knew it. At least I thought I did. I had heard versions of it before. Maybe you have too. But knowing something and experiencing something are completely different. Some lessons can't be downloaded into your brain through a code, they have to be lived. And maybe that's okay. And maybe that is how growth works. Sometimes life puts you through experiences so we can finally understand what seemed obvious all along. So, if you are like me, if you have been waiting for permission to enjoy life after everything is fixed, after you have become the person you are trying to become, consider this your reminder. The small happy moments aren't distractions from life, they are life. They are the reason we are working so hard in the first place. So don't postpone them forever, because one day you might realize that while you were busy preparing to live, life was already happening. Sometimes the lessons that sound the simplest take the longest to understand.